everybody. Welcome back to another video of us wandering Skyrim. This is my boy, Orgrim Doomhammer. Say hi, Orgrim. Hello. And we are going to be exploring the vastness of Skyrim. I have turned off AI, so the good news is there will be no combat. So I know sometimes people don't like to watch these games because there's combat and it's loud and it can wake you up, but rest assured I've turned off the AI. So if this is your first time watching this video, this kind of video, one of my playthroughs, it will be very enjoyable for you because it's going to be nothing but ambience, walking, the sound of nature, whatever we decide to come across. So that's the good news for you, and I hope you enjoy. Let me go here and just increase the sound effects a little bit. I think they're up already, but ambience. Okay. We can increase the music a tad bit, that's fine, because there's not going to be any combat music, so we will be alright. Okay. Alright. And I think we're good, I would say. So, let's test this out real quick. Yep. They do not notice us. This is Hedring. He is the innkeep here. Just going about his day, as you can tell. And the last time we, just want to make sure my camera's good. The last time we ended our adventure, we had explored and decided to call it a night at this inn. So, let's open up into Skyrim, walk out into the vastness that is Skyrim. Okay, and here we are. We are at the Night Gate Inn. Not really near anything in particular. But we can explore the vastness of the landscape and make our way over to Windhelm. Can we fast travel there? I have not discovered. Okay, so let us make our way over to Windhelm. And then we can explore beyond that. Yeah, Windhelm is a good location to start. As you can see, the snow is falling at a rather slow pace. It's not too bad, although Orgrim is probably quite cold wearing his very thin garments. Not exactly good for the weather, I would say. But he's tough. He can handle it. We'll be okay. Let's make our way over. We can walk down towards that lake over there and just observe the beauty. Possibly see if there are any sort of weird, unusual fish for us to catch. And have for supper later. as an orc, I'm sure Orgrim Doomhammer is not a fan of this kind of weather, but I think it's nice. That's just the Nord in me. Orgrim doesn't like the Nord weather at all. He's not built for it. But he's tough enough to be able to withstand it. So, he'll make do. He'll be okay. Let's speed up a little bit here. And take a look. There seems to be a camp over there of some sort. There's a wild coyote over there. We'll walk away and just observe the water here. Looks like they're on the prowl, hunting for prey, perhaps, for their next meal. But for us, we can just sit here and enjoy the weather, the beautiful landscape, nature around us. Nonetheless, we will continue to enjoy the nature. Let's go explore that camp over there. Is it a camp? I can't really tell. We will swim over there. Give it a nice little swim. It appears to be some sort of cave, a bronze water cave. But we'll save that for another time. We need to make our way over to Windhelm, and we are actually going in the right direction, so let's swim over. And continue our walk up the hill. A steep hill. Orgrim Doomhammer was born into a clan of renegade orcs. His older brother was the leader of this clan. They're not well known. They don't have any sort of power. They're just a small group of bandits. But Orgrim Doomhammer was ambitious, more ambitious than that. And so he left his brother and their clan and the small group of bandits that they ran with in order to pursue bigger and better things. You see, he realizes that in order for him to truly become the best thief possible, he needs to visit a foreign group of people like the Nords, like the Dark Elves. Only there can he truly hone his craft. And so that is what brings Orgrim Doomhammer to Skyrim. It certainly isn't because of the beautiful weather, or, as he would say, the incredibly harsh Nord weather that you have to be absolutely insane to enjoy. Orgrim Doomhammer also did not enjoy killing people, and his brother's clan did that very often. You see, he prefers more of the peaceful thieves lifestyle, where he steals from unsuspecting passerbys and leaves them to go about their business, unaware that they've just been swindled. Bloodlust and murder is not in his nature. He doesn't particularly enjoy it, and so that is a big part of the reason why he left as well. He wanted to do things differently, hone his craft. And his brother enjoyed the bloodlust all too much for his comfort. Orgrim Doomhammer has killed many a man because of this, and at a certain point he became exhausted. And so now, as he looks out into the Skyrim skies, the skies of Skyrim, he finds himself remembering all of the people that he's slain for the betterment of his clan, and questions whether or not it could have been avoided, whether all those people needed to die. He ponders this question and wonders if he'll have to kill again, whether he'll have to kill Nords and Dark Elves as he makes his way through the harsh lands of Skyrim. He doesn't understand the Nord people, or the Dark Elves for that matter. And Argonians creep him out, if we're going to be honest. But he doesn't want to kill any of them. It's not in his nature. They might be different from him, and he's not even sure that he'll ever understand them. But he doesn't need to. They can exist peacefully without ever really getting along. They can coexist in parallel. They don't need to hurt each other. And Orgrim Doomhammer's goal is to be the ultimate thief, to the point where he will only steal from the rich, so that he doesn't feel like he's harming people who are barely getting by. Of course, the unfortunate reality is that in order for him to hone his craft, he knows that he's going to have to steal from the poor and the innocent, because they are easier targets than the rich who have security and things of this nature. So it's not something that he's looking forward to, but he knows that he doesn't really have a choice. As he looks out over the horizon, he can't help but feel that despite the fact that he doesn't like this weather, he understands why some like it. It does have a certain peaceful tranquility that he could definitely get used to. weather. Although the chilliness and the razor sharp cuts of the air on his skin is probably something that he'll never truly get used to, but the scenery is very nice and pleasant. That he could get used to, that he could really find himself enjoying. Perhaps even starting a family here in Skyrim. His mother, Orgrim Doomhammer's mother, was a herbalist, an alchemist, in fact. She spent her days gathering all sorts of flowers and weeds in order to concoct different types of potions that she would sell at the local market to adventurers, to soldiers. So, from time to time, when he sees greenery and various flowers, weeds and such, he can't help but remember his mother and think fondly of her. She died of old age over 10 years ago. And ever since then, Orgrim Doomhammer and his brother have been living life on the run, never really having a home, never really knowing their father. Quite frankly, he's not sure if his father's out there or if his father's dead. He doesn't know, but he does have mixed feelings about what he would say and do to his father for abandoning him and his family all those years ago. Perhaps if his father had stuck around, him and his brother wouldn't have fallen into a life of debauchery, degeneracy, thievery, and crime. But Orgrim Doomhammer isn't one to dwell on the past in that way. He knows that his skill set is what feeds him and what keeps him fed, clothed, bathed, with a roof over his head. And so he will use that skill set to his advantage. Seems someone has left a campfire here for us to enjoy. Whoever was here seems to have deserted their campfire. But we won't linger for too long, lest they come back and draw their steel, their bow, in an attempt to attack us out of fear, or if they're abandoned out of aggression. Orgrim Doomhammer would have to dispose of them, and he'd rather not have any more blood on his hands. Unless absolutely necessary. And here we are in Windhelm. Towns in Skyrim are a lot more cozy and quaint than Orgrim is used to. It looks like we have just a little bit ways to go and then we're almost there. Then again, he's mostly used to a life on the run, campfires and squalor, so something like this is fancy as far as he's concerned. The local villagers are, looks like he's not one for cleanliness, is he? Cutting some wood, going about their lives, it seems. Perhaps creating fixtures for a sawmill to make the process more efficient. Despite the fact that Orgrim Doomhammer never got to know his father, he does imagine what his profession might have been. Perhaps he was a blacksmith. Perhaps he was a soldier. Perhaps he was a thief. His mother never really talked about him, so he doesn't really know. And his brother, his older brother, never really talked about him much either. But if he can get some answers in Skyrim, perhaps collect some clues as to whether or not his father is alive, then that will be a nice bonus for Orgrim. Here we have a beautiful waterfall. There were days when Orgrim would have no food or water. Walking through deserts and wastelands with nothing but the clothes on his back and his daggers at his side. The fact that there's a beautiful rushing waterfall in front of him is almost like a dream. He can see the parallels between the Orc people and the Nord people in terms of grit and toughness and resilience. Orgrim Doomhammer can see how the Nord people, the people of Skyrim, are very much similar to his own people. But where they differ is they clearly have a much nicer and more plentiful ecosystem filled with resources, food, water, game to hunt. All of these things that are not so familiar to Orgrim and his people. He can't help but feel a little bit jealous, even if he doesn't like the weather. That bridge over there seems to be near Windhelm. We should be arriving shortly, and we will be able to retire at the inn. Perhaps Orgrim will find his next targets. Perhaps he will discover clues about his father. It is difficult to know for certain what he will discover in Windhelm. But what we can say for sure is that he will experience something new and different from anything he's seen back in his homeland. And if it turns out that he does not discover much, he will simply move on to the next town. But Windhelm, according to his map, has a lot of villagers, many people to observe and assess whether or not he can break into their living quarters and pick off a few goods here or there from them. Now, it appears we'll have to walk across the other side. I don't think that we'll be able to get up through there. Orgrim is also directionally challenged. No one is perfect. And, he acknowledges that he has his faults. He's a thief, not a navigator. No one ever said he was Christopher Columbus. So, he's going to go across now and go across the bridge until he gets into the town of Windhelm. It's a lot snowier over here near Windhelm. Perhaps we are at a higher vantage point compared to where we were earlier in the previous town inn, where the blizzard and the snow are much more fierce. A carriage and a cart, perhaps a taxi of sorts. This could come in handy for us should we need to make a quick escape. And as a local, he probably knows the area better than we would. So it would help us get from point A to point B should we need to do so. And perhaps we'll be able to purchase or steal a horse. Now we have to go this way. Let's pick up the pace a bit and go this way then. Now it appears to be an elf working here in Skyrim. Going about his day, I suppose. I wonder what his plans are. In life. And whether or not his hopes and dreams are being fulfilled. It appears he's okay. I was going to say it appears he's not aware as to how to open a door. Ah, the stables. I guess he's going to resume his work. Let us make our way to Windhelm and find shelter and refuge from the cold winds of Skyrim. They have guards at the front gates, most likely to keep watch and make sure there aren't any nefarious activities going about outside of the city walls, and to keep track of the people that enter and leave the village, the town. It's best to do that because you never know who's going to come and go and what their intentions may be. Luckily, Orgrim Doomhammer, with his power of stealth, as a rogue slash thief, is able to effectively mask himself and hide himself in plain view from these guards for a time, until he goes into his thief-like mode, in which case then his stealth gives way and he becomes revealed, which is why he needs to practice and get better.
You come here where you're not wanted. You eat our food, you pollute our city with your stink, and you refuse to help the Stormcloaks.
It appears they are having some sort of argument over there, but
Maybe the reason these Greyskins don't help is war. Imperial spies.
it's not really our concern. We will find our way to the local inn, which
Finding out what you really are.
A few septims for my supper is all I ask.
this is the largest city that Orgrim has ever seen. These buildings are massive and they seem to go on for ages compared to anything that he's ever seen, but then again, he's used to little huts and cots, so this to him is magnificent. He can't help but feel impressed by the Nord people and what they've built. I don't suppose anybody could offer some directions for Orgrim Doomhammer. Perhaps Candlehearth Hall is the inn. Generally speaking, one would imagine that the inns are at the front of the town, of any town really, but let's go check, shall we? Not quite sure, but let's go inside and see. This seems like more of a church than an inn, but we will investigate. Orgrim isn't much for religion, but he understands that the Nord people.
Let me know if you want anything. I think I've got a clean hut around here somewhere.
Excellent. It appears we have located an inn. I don't suppose we can get a room. Nice, cozy, warm fire. You can sit in the chair and just enjoy the fire. With some entertainment in the background to keep us company. After a long journey, Orgrim Doomhammer can't help but ponder what his next move will be.
So what's the news on the street, Captain?
The Dark Elves are uneasy. There's a killer on the streets. And Viola, you're there no more.
Perhaps Orgrim can
How would you like a drink?
Oh,
Steal from the killer that's on the streets.
Coming right up.
That might be a good first target for him. It's time for him to formulate a plan. Perhaps ask the locals who this killer might be, who they think he might be. Nonetheless, before we do that, he's going to get himself a nice warm meal in his belly and retire for the night. And start tomorrow anew. But we will leave him to that.